And I was still hanging out with the Ricadas and everything when I said this. But April had left the show very abruptly, didn't give any warning, just stopped working. And that upset me, but I worked through it. And she was kind of hoping the show would fall apart without her. And so one day she goes, "How's everything going?" Like, how's everything going? Instead of checking in or watching or anything else, she goes, "How's everything going?" And I just looked at her. I said, it feels good to flex the solo show muscle again. I forgot how good I was at this. And that's true. Like, I gained confidence from doing solo shows. And I'm like, fuck, man, I forgot. I used to do this by myself. I'm really fucking good at it. She went in the other room and cried. Nick's like, "That's mean to say." I'm like, what the dude, that's my fucking relationship with all those people in a nutshell. Was me going, "Hey, this really shitty thing that you guys did to me, I worked through it and it made me feel really good about myself. You're a monster. You're a piece of shit." Imagine going through that for, it was that bad for probably about 6 to 8 weeks. Imagine, well, in April it was longer than that. It was probably about 3 months. But imagine going through that almost daily and then watching other people's drama almost daily. And you're sober for it. I mean, when I say that I got up psychologically, I got up psychologically. And the more I untie and unpack everything, the better I feel, but the more I realize how much damage was done. And I'm still learning about that. Let's go to the chat and let's see what you guys have today. Gavin went on Alex Stein and treated Gino like the Federal Reserve treats the U.S. dollar. 90% drop in... Wow. Okay, we'll watch that clip. Are there going to be short stories and then back to you? Well, we're going to get going here in a second. I just want to see what you guys have to say. That's the saddest part. When Keanu said that Gino gave me basically a pity invite to the wedding because they really wanted April. I didn't do anything to deserve that. I'll be honest with you. That was a really shitty thing to say. I've never done anything to deserve that level of disrespect. But again, it's the internet. Don't get your feelings hurt. It's fucking internet. That's how people are. But, I said it yesterday. I have a hard time conceiving betrayal. I take people as they are, and that's my mistake. Labglass says if she's talked about Johnny, f her all the way off. I think that's why she's not getting any positive comments about this. Look, first of all, people know what happened in that house that I came out of, and they don't like or respect anyone who was doing the shit they were doing. And we're talking about 5 kids here, and only one person's taking any accountability, and that's me. If you want to know who the genuine article is, you look at the one person who's actually owned up to any wrongdoing. Genuine article. But, so people don't like those people already. You side with liars and manipulators. People are going to hate you for that part. Then you shove a knife in the back to the one person who actually stayed in touch with you and spoke with you and confided in you and cried to you about the things that were going on. And then you shove a fucking knife in their back because I guess what? He's tall, ugly, chubby. He looks funny. Ooh, can't be seen with him. Gino's value in Gavin's eyes and Keanu's over-emotional meltdown, says, and vicious turn on Aaron aren't coincidences. Just saying. I mean, there's a lot of money in... Well, there's actually not a lot of money. I think Melton's the only one making money on Steel Toe Hate. But there's a lot of people who don't have a lot of views can go to Steel Toe Hate and get a little temporary bump. The problem is the reason our show grew from the Ricada thing was because people came for that. They were locked in from that. And then when I moved on from that, there were hundreds, well, there were a few thousand people who went, I like this guy's show. I'm going to stick around. You got to have, you can't just turn on Aaron and then go, numbers up, I've got myself a show. You can't do the Aaron show all the time. I mean, what happens if you get another $10 super chat that asks you about Kumia again? You're going to freeze up again. You can't do that. You got to have a good show on top of it. So that's what you got to work on. They're allowed, their approach and the way they want to do things. And what do they say? Their journey, as it were. Says Aaron wasn't charged. Anthony was. Big difference. The haters are growing increasingly desperate. I mean, look, I mean, it all comes out in the end. Everything I've said, when it's got had a chance to be proven, it's been proven true. It's not going to lie. April looked pretty in her post, the caption invoking God. I don't know. Who am I to judge? She did. She looked very pretty. She's a very pretty girl. I hope everything is going better. I hope she's away from the toxic situation that got her arrested. And I hope she's away from all the toxic substances. But again, like I said on Monday, if she's not, that doesn't hurt or help my life. If she is, it doesn't hurt or help my life. But I still hope for the best for people. Lander says, Gino and Dylan want to F April. I can't believe you don't see it. What other people want to do, I'm miles away from either of them, both physically and psychologically. It's what adults do in their own home is their business. Dead Game says, now you understand what Mersh was trying to warn you about. You know, I have thought about Mersh through this whole thing, and I've gone, I've thought about these people aren't your friends. I've thought about that rant since this whole thing happened, and I think it's fair to say Mersh was right. That question about Anthony shook her up for a reason. Annoyed Wawa Supervisor, and it shook Anthony up for a reason. Glad you finally figured it out. I didn't figure out shit. Don't give me credit for figuring shit out. I let them walk into my home, literally and figuratively, shove a knife in my heart, smile at me while they did it, and I just sat there and took it like a ponce. So don't say that I finally figured it out. I didn't figure out shit. Like everything else, learn the hard way. Viking with $9.99 says, I asked Kiki about her difference of opinion on the allegations against you versus ones against Kumia. I'm not going to watch it. Like I said, the whole thing kind of hurt my feelings. It's not a show gimmick for me. They were really, I thought, ride or die friends. They helped me through a tough situation. But I think if April would have done in front of her and paraded an affair publicly in front of them, I think they would have been fine with it as long as they could talk to her and they would have thrown me out. Well, I mean, because they did. So I don't, so it does hurt. It does bother me, but I'm in a much better place now to deal with it. It's sad that you have to get tested on whether or not therapy and all this shit is working. And the two tests I've gotten so far are when April moved out and we had a beautiful talk and I kind of thought things were picking up again. Then a few hours later, she got back to the nest and the whole tone changed. Everything changed and I was a monster and an animal again. And then this Keanu thing. Those are the two things that have kind of tested my progress, if you will, and my self-control. And the one good thing out of it is that it's other people have observed the difference. If I observe the difference, it doesn't matter. I can trick myself. But if other people observe it, that means a lot. Special K with $5 says, don't give Keanu air. She wants material so she can play your clips and yell at them, ignore, and don't mention her. She can do whatever she'd like.